Hey guys, it's Kevin Murphy, guys. This is going to be another installment of Own It, Never Falking, Seen It, but it's a little bit different this time around because I am actually not alone for this review, guys. And of course, this is a movie that I've been wanting to see for a while now, and I figured that since the spiritual sequel is coming out on Netflix, this week, it would only make sense to review this movie, that of course being Duncan Jones's film, Moon. And what Moon is essentially about is we center on the character of Sam Bell, and he is basically someone who, for 3 years, he has been working very closely with this company, Lunar Industries. He's basically mining Moon, the moon and everything. He's on the dark side of the moon. And, it's coming to an end, basically. His contract is coming up, and what ends up happening is he ends up in this accident, and basically through this accident, he goes through this life-altering experience, and he starts to realize that there may be something much more maniacal and much more secretive at play that he has not known for a while. And like I said, this really does shake him up, and the rest of the film is really how he processes these revelations, and that's really all I'm going to say. But as I said, guys, I am not alone for this review. Once again, I do have 22TigerDude back to review this movie with me. So, Tony, take it away.
Hey there, everybody. This is 22TigerDude here, and I want to welcome Kevin Falk so much for bringing me here to review Moon with him. So Moon is obviously Duncan Jones's directorial debut. He is also the writer for this film. And this film is known to be as one of the best sci-fi movies ever. All I can honestly hope whenever I hear like it's the best movie ever is, as long as I at least enjoy the movie, I'm perfectly happy with it. And so with Moon, even though it had huge hype surrounding it, I just wanted to enjoy this film. And so with all that being said, what did I think about Moon? Well, let's go ahead and talk about it. So I gotta just start off by saying that Sam Rockwell is amazing in this film. He gives one hell of a performance. He is really excellent here. Sam Rockwell is one of the best actors working today, and I always find it unfortunate that he doesn't get talked about as much as he should, because watching movies like Moon seriously shows that this guy really has it, and I really thought he gave it his all. The way he portrays this man that has been stuck up on this moon for a few years, 3 years, and how he had to convey that emotion throughout this film was definitely very impressive. Also, Kevin Spacey, he plays Gertie the robot. So you don't see him physically, but you do hear Kevin Spacey's voice, and I thought he did a really good job as this robot. I actually really liked the character of Gertie. I just thought he was a very enjoyable character in general, and I thought Kevin Spacey honestly did a very good job portraying him. The practicality that goes into Moon is unbelievable. It is seriously unbelievable. There is minimal uses of CGI in Moon, but from what I understand, at least, most of this movie is practical, and you could clearly tell. The budget for this movie is small, yet I can honestly say it does not look cheap. Like, they really use the budget very well. When you look at the scale, although small, it is so impressive. The look of the moon is something that I have to really commend everyone for. Like, visually, this is stunning for sure. Duncan Jones, when it comes to his direction, I think he does do a very good job. This being like his first time directing the film, I do think he does a good job of really making this world feel pretty real. And the set design in Moon is unbelievable. So with all of that being impressive to me, it shouldn't be a surprise when I say that the cinematography is also very impressive looking in this film. And the score here too really does blend with this world. The score in Moon is so beautiful, and it actually did take my breath away whenever the score is playing, because it really did fit this atmosphere. The third act is the most interesting thing about this film. Where they went with the third act was actually really cool. And before I forget, I will say there's a twist, I guess you could say, that's revealed early on in the film. And I don't know if Kevin himself is going to talk about it. I don't know if he's going to really spoil what it is, but in case he isn't, all I'll say is there is a twist that happens pretty early on in the film, and I thought that was pretty cool. Now, with all that being said, I did not care for Moon. This movie really disappointed me. And like I said early on, I didn't have to love this movie. It didn't have to be the greatest thing I've ever seen. It didn't have to be a masterpiece. I just wanted to care about the story. And while on a technical level, this movie is breathtaking, story-wise, I had a very tough time latching onto this film. I found the story to be, honestly, incredibly dull. Even though there are cool things, cool ideas that Duncan Jones does add to the script, unfortunately, they weren't presented in a way where I was necessarily wowed or even interested. Like, even if they didn't wow me, I would think maybe they would give me some interest. And I recognize, I'm watching the movie going, okay, I recognize that's a cool idea. I recognize that's a cool idea. But it was never presented in a way where I'm like, oh man, this is fully interesting. I can't wait to see where it goes. I was into the movie when it started. Like, the setup was very interesting. And then maybe after like the first 15 minutes or 20 minutes, I just really started to lose interest with this film. Sam Rockwell, while he does give an excellent performance, I couldn't really latch onto his character. This is a character that's been stuck up in the moon for 3 years. So when you hear something like that, you would think I would be sitting there and just rooting for him, just latching onto this character. And it's not like this character is horrible. This is not an unlikable character. He's not unlikable, but he's also a character I just didn't find myself caring for. He's just like, okay, I'm following this character, let's move it along. That's really how I felt. Like, I know I'm pretty in the big minority, but it was really hard for me to latch onto his character. And the movie has these emotional, heartfelt moments, and I'm all about emotional, heartfelt moments in my movies, but here it just felt forced. This movie is a slow burner too, and slow burners for me can go either way. They can either be slow but highly engaging, and then there's a slow burner that's just very, very slow, and I'm really bored watching it. And unfortunately, Moon is one of those slow burners where, as it kept going, I was just getting more bored and bored. Until, obviously, once we got to the third act of this film, which I do think is the most interesting thing about this film. But leading up to that third act, I just found myself more and more disinterested watching this film. And considering the cool ideas that are thrown in here, I shouldn't be bored, but I honestly was. And the dialogue on top of all that, really most of it was so dull, and I even zoned out a few times watching this film. And even though the third act was very interesting, the ending was very abrupt. Like, just when the movie was actually finally going somewhere, it just abruptly ends, and then there's the end credits, and I just go, well, okay then. Overall, on a technical level, it is an achievement. I am not going to deny that. This movie is visually stunning. The practicality that went to this film with its minimal use of CGI was impressive. How they used a small budget and brought a world with such a small scale is truly impressive, and Sam Rockwell does give an excellent performance. The direction is very good despite the very weak script in my opinion, and I do love the score, but honestly everything else about the film really just didn't stick with me. Not even Sam Rockwell's character I could latch on to. It really was pretty rough sitting through this film, honestly. Not because it was horrible. It's not like it's one of those painful movies. It's not painful to sit through. It's just a drag. Even if I didn't love it, I would have been happy at least liking it, and I couldn't even do that with Moon. On my scale, I would give Moon 2 out of 4 stars. On the Kevin Falk scale, I would give it a C. It is a straight down the middle C because of how technically impressive it is. And that's really about it. So thank you so much, Kevin Falk, for bringing me here to review Moon. I really do appreciate you bringing me on to do this with you, buddy. And now, everyone, this is where I'm going to cut back to Kevin now. This is 22TigerDude here. And don't forget that I will always have Tiger Power.
Alright, so thank you, Tony, and now it's time for my portion of the Moon review. So, Moon in general, this was a film that I was very much looking forward to. Over the years, I have heard so much about this film, so much positive acclaim. I remember in 2009 when this came out and everyone was talking about it, everyone was saying it was this huge, you know, just technical marvel. You know, for sci-fi films was a great example of what sci-fi films should be. So I have been very interested in this film for a long time now. And like I said, with Mute coming out, I figured I might as well check out this film since it is rumored, it's not confirmed, but it is rumored that Sam Rockwell's character may actually make an appearance in that film. And, well, as Tony just said, he wasn't really a huge fan of this film, and up to this point, Tony and I have been in almost complete unison. You know, we reviewed all the Pirates films, and, you know, we were in complete agreement pretty much with those films. Sure, the grades might be different, but how we feel about all those films individually is pretty much exactly the same. So, you know, obviously that went really well. Moon, that is not really the case, because while Tony doesn't think this movie's a near masterpiece, I actually do. I fucking love Moon. I think it is an incredibly original, very different kind of sci-fi film, but one that is very welcomed, and one of the most creative I think I've ever seen. But we're just getting into it right now, starting off with the cast. Now, similar to Tony, I'm not going to get into a lot of what goes on in this film because there are a lot of reveals and things like that, so it is a bit difficult to talk about some of the acting in this movie, you know, discounting the spoilers, but I went into this movie knowing virtually nothing, and I kind of want you guys to do the same. This is a film that is pretty much built on the element of surprise. I mean, you could say that for pretty much every movie, but this movie especially, like, this is a film you have to go into knowing almost nothing, or else the payoff is just not going to be as, incredible as it really is. But we're just getting, but first we do have to talk about the thing I think everyone was talking about when this movie first came out. That, of course, is Sam Rockwell as a character of Sam Bell, who I absolutely love this role for him. I mean, he did an incredible job in 3 Billboards, but to be honest with you, I think this really is his best performance, because Sam Bell starts off and he just kind of seems like your everyman. You know, he's trying to get back to his wife and daughter, and he's very urgent to go back there, and you definitely do feel that connection to him. But like I said, that is a very loose connection when it comes to his character, and again, there is a lot more going on with him that I really can't get into, but the way in which Rockwell processes all of this is very well done. It's very realistic, and you can really see how this does shake up his worldview, and he really does get more and more manic throughout the film. You really don't know where he's going to go, and Rockwell just poured so much pathos into this role. He really did an incredible job here. He really did show his range as an actor, and this is really the film that put him on the map. Like, Sam Rockwell was a respected actor at this point, but this is really the film where people are like, why is this guy not getting more attention? Honestly, he was Oscar-worthy in this film. He really was. That Oscar nomination he got in 3 Billboards is long overdue, and films like Moon really exhibit how amazing and talented of an actor he really is. And then the rest of the cast, I thought also was really great. I really did like Dominique McElligott as his wife. I thought she was definitely really great here. There's a lot of secrets going on with her. You don't really know what's going on because most of her role are through these video messages. And again, there's a lot of secrecy going on there. There seems to be a lot of stuff that she's withholding from him, and I thought that was definitely very well done. You can see she genuinely does care, but again, you just don't really know what her deal is. Someone who I definitely want to talk about is, of course, Kevin Spacey, which, it's really hard to say that name, of course, without cringing. I mean, sure, you know, what he did, yes, it was extremely messed up, and, you know, there's definitely no getting around what he did, and because that, it is hard to talk about that actor, you know, without bringing up, all of the horrible things he did in his personal life, which, I mean, that's just a whole separate thing, but, you know, besides saying all that, you know, focusing on just the actor, he really is phenomenal in this movie. And this really does show how great he was, because, I mean, his career basically is over as an actor. And the way he poured, you know, again, pours so much emotion into this role is quite great. And a lot of people, I think, are going to make comparisons to Hal from 2001: A Space Odyssey, and it is similar in that way. I don't think Gertie is as controlling and as manipulative as Hal was, but Gertie very much is the driving force of this movie. Without Gertie, there wouldn't really be as much of a story in this movie, and I really did like the relationship between Sam and Gertie. For a while, this is really the only connection that Sam really does have, and you can see the relationship these two have developed, but again, Spacey is to be kind of monotone throughout this whole film, but you can tell what he's really feeling in that moment, and it just, again, really just shows how great of an actor he really is and how much he was able to put into this role, and he absolutely killed here. Really, everyone does a phenomenal job. There are other actors in this movie that I'd love to talk about, but again, that would be veering into spoiler territory, and I really want to keep it as secretive as possible. So, like I said, all the acting is phenomenal. Everyone really does an incredible job, and definitely is one of the best parts of this film by far. But now let's get to the directing and the writing, because that is easily, I think, the most distinctive element of this entire film. I mean, Duncan Jones, sure, he's not like this amazing director or anything, but I think this is why people were looking forward to Warcraft as much as they are, because his directing here is truly phenomenal. What I really love about Jones's directing in this movie is, again, the tone. You know, this is a sci-fi film, and you would think it would be something along the lines of, like, Star Trek, or something like, say, you know, like a Star Wars movie, just something very bombastic, this, like, grandiose epic with, like, all these crazy, you know, action scenes, and all these different, you know, sort of space adventures, but that's not really what Moon is. Moon, at its core, is a character study. It is a drama, and that's something I really did love. The tone here is very dreary. It's very realistic, and if someone were to go into space and be on the journey that Sam Bell is, I think this is kind of how it would play out, and they did a really great job with utilizing that tone here. There is some good humor throughout the film, but for the most part, it is a very depressing film at points, and I thought they handled that very well here. I really did like the bleak tone that was, you know, throughout the film, and it isn't completely hopeless, though. There definitely is a sense of hope throughout it, but again, the more the revelations go, the more and more hopeless things do get, and I thought that was definitely very well demonstrated here, and I really did love the directing. Like I said, I think Jones really did an incredible job with it, but the writing as well really does stick out to me, because the thing I really love about this film is how quiet it really is. I mean, the concept in general is just so simple. It's simply a guy who, like I say, gets in this accident, and a whole string of reveals pretty much come with it. Things that he didn't even, you know, weren't even just in the realm of possibility. You know, nothing that ever would have come to fruition before, you know, he really did, you know, discover it here. But that's one of the things I really do love about Moon. It's not like they throw 50 reveals at you. No, this movie really does take its time in trying to get you to process what he's really going through. And you are in just as much of a state of confusion as Belle is throughout this film. When certain things happen, you're like, what? That makes no sense. What's going on here? But luckily, the film does take the time to backtrack really what's happening. And once you really figure out everything that's been going on, you're like, oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense. And I thought they did a very good job of, you know, really taking their time with these reveals and focusing more on the character. In fact, it takes about, I'd say, 30 or 40 minutes for the actual plot to start in this movie. But the other thing I really do love about Moon is how deep it really is. And I mean, a lot of space films would say, oh, it's deep and it's good because it's deep, but that's not really the case with Moon. The thing about this movie is that, yes, it does have a lot of very complex themes, but it's not trying to beat you over the head with it. It's not trying to be in your face that, oh, this movie is about this and we're gonna bring it up every 5 seconds. No, it's very subtle, but the film does deal with a lot of very interesting themes, you know, things like, corporates and, you know, how shady they can really be and how we need to kind of rise up against them. It deals with, you know, isolation. That's like the primary theme, is the idea of isolationism and what you really do when you are all on your own. And I thought all those themes, again, were very well presented here. Nothing really felt like it was beating me over the head. Nothing felt like you must feel this way. And I thought, again, that was just very well done. And it just says a lot about sci-fi films. I really would love to see more sci-fi films done done in the style of this movie. This movie isn't trying to, you know, make the greatest action scenes of all time. In fact, I can only really recall of 2 action scenes in this entire movie. Other than that, this is very much, like I said, just a character study that happens to be in space, and I think it is very well handled in that way. But the other thing, like I said, that I really did love about this movie are the reveals in general. What this does for the story already is very interesting, but it really does take things to new heights, and the movie gets more and more interesting as it goes on, and none of these reveals feel like they're coming out of left field. Like, they really do make a lot of sense, and I thought they did a really great job with that. And again, because the fact the film really takes its time with its, you know, with things like its characters and, the world overall, when these reveals do take place, we are very much on board. You know, we really do feel for this character. One reveal in particular had me on the verge of tears. I'm not going to lie to you. It was incredibly heartbreaking what this character has to endure. And when you really, you know, understand the full magnitude of what Sam's really going through, you really start to, you know, feel for him. I mean, you're already feeling for him, but even more so in this circumstance. And again, I'd love to dive more into it, but I really don't want you guys to know too much about it. It's very well handled, and trust me, you're definitely not going to see it coming. But like I said, writing's fantastic. Pretty much love everything about it. The cinematography here, I think, also is fantastic. I really do love the cinematography within this film. I think it is some of the best in any space film. And again, one of the things I think this film really benefits from is the low budget. And because of the limitations, you know, it's not a film that's trying to become, again, the next great space opera. It's much more simplistic than that, and just the look of the moon, or just the look of him going through all these planets, it is stunning to watch, and it is just such a beautiful movie to look at. It's one of those movies where you could just turn the sound off just to show off your TV, and that would be enough. I mean, the cinematography alone is enough of a reason to praise this movie. It's such an incredible film to look at, and I really did love what they did with the cinematography overall. The score as well here, it's perfect for the film. It's very mysterious, it's kind of dreary, and I thought it was just a very well done score overall. It perfectly put me right into the film, and I really did love the score here. As far as the editing does go, I will say the first like 20 to 30 minutes of this movie, maybe not the first 20, but like the first 15 to 20 minutes, I wasn't as into it. I will say I did think it was just a little bit slow. But again, it's a film that is deliberately slow. It's not slow for the sake of being slow. It's being slow for a reason, because they're going to throw so much at you in that third act that it needs to take its time with its story. So looking back, it's really not that much of a complaint. But if they were to cut down, maybe I'd say 5 to 10 minutes of this movie, I do think it would flow just a little bit better. But honestly, this film is just so creative and so incredible, and just has so many things to say about Earth, and you know, just what someone does when they're all alone, and all those kinds of things, and it throws so many interesting and creative twists at you that it really is hard to find a flaw within Moon, to be honest with you. This is an incredible film. It's one of the most original I've seen. I really want to see more sci-fi films done in this style. So many sci-fi films nowadays are just trying to be the next Star Wars, and I mean, even Bright, when that came out, you know, Bright in general, that whole thing was about, oh, let's be the next Star Wars. Moon is really something to follow. You know, I think this is really something to emulate. It's much more simplistic. It's much more focused on the humans. It's not trying to be, like I said, this incredible space opera. It is much more, you know, deeper than that. It is much more complex than that. I think that is one of the reasons why Moon stands out as much as it does. It is an absolutely incredible film. It's one of my favorite films I've watched out of all these OINFSI Falking Seen It movies I've watched, and I'm definitely going to give Moon overall an A. So overall, guys, in my review of Moon, once again, I do want to thank 22TigerDude for collabing with me on this film, even though, admittedly, it wasn't really one that he enjoyed. Thank you for still taking the time to review this with me. It's been a while since we've done a collab review, so I figured it would only make sense, you know, we watched this movie together, it would only make sense for us to review this movie together as well. Alright guys, so I know it's been a little while since I've done this, but once again, here are all the films I'm going to be reviewing, and now I'm going to click randomize. And it looks like the next film I will be reviewing is McFarland USA. This is a film that I wanted to review in, I believe 2014 is when it came out, but I never really got around to it. I've had multiple recommendations to check out this film, so definitely look forward to that very soon. So like I said, guys, definitely look forward to my review of McFarland USA coming sometime next week. I'm not entirely sure when, but that is a film that I have had so many recommendations to check out, you know, since it's come out. But that's in my review. Hope you guys enjoy. Once again, big thanks to 22TigerDude. Let me know what you guys thought of this movie overall, left your thoughts in it. We'll see you guys in my next video, and we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.